I think more often than not, we put ourselves in places where we want to confide in the people that conform us. We want to trust people that torture us. We want to heal people that act like they hate us. Is that I'm loving from a hurt place. What do you do when you are put in a position where you have to hold what hurt you and love who lied to you? Caution, I tell you that love is tantalizing. Love is tactical, but it is something that is tangible. It is the most addictive addiction, a drug in the world. Love can have you high and low in a matter of milliseconds. Love can put you into a place where you feel like you want to live today and you want to die at noon. Love can make you feel like you have the world to gain, and it can make you feel like you've lost everything. It is the most vicious but kind, the most ambitious but laziest. It is the most revered after and yet vengeanized illness, sickness, disease, beautiful, wonderful gift in the world. I think it's evident that we are approaching the holiday seasons, that love would be something that we would aspire, look for, that we would want most of anything on our list. Is at the core of it, even toys to children, if it's jewelry to the fiance, if it is a new pair of golf clubs, if it's a watch, if it is a new pair of Louboutins, or if it is something that is a value of significance, it is, be it big or small, it does not matter. It is a display of how I feel on the inside towards somebody. Rarely, consequently, do you see or find anybody displaying love in a hateful form, in gift expression. So most people don't have the energy to exchange it if they don't feel it. This is sadly but true not the case when it comes to the exchanging of feelings, expressions, emotions, consequently, bodies. When is it that you are in a place where you won't even fake gifts, but you'll fake the girlfriend? How can you not want to involve them in family functions, but it is that he wants to call you your fiance? There is something different when we're talking about the binding of two people. You're talking about something that happens not only spiritually, but something that happens naturally. It is something that we find in creation. The first man and first woman in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, or 2 and 3. It is that God is creating the heavens and the earth, and in chapter 2 he depicts what the generations of the heaven and the earth is. It's not until chapter 4 where he gets down to the generations of Adam and Eve, but we find in chapter 3, 2, and 4 their first case study. And I'm wondering, trying to find out across timelines, essentially, incongruently, I'm trying to find out, what does Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat all have in common, that everybody's going through a love struggle at the same time. It is not something that is unnatural, but it is something that started from the beginning of time. That you'd notice that in Genesis chapter 2, God looks at the man after creating everything, and in chapter 1 would say, it is good, everything that he would create. It's not until we come to chapter 2 where it is God looks at the man and says, it's not good. That man should be alone. I think this is played upon by influence of interpretation here, but the Bible does say that it's not good, that man should be alone. I think that we want to put the negative connotation and put not in that statement, I think in earlier, later translations, but that's not what we would veer to the understanding. If man was missioned to be not alone, not with just God, it is we wouldn't be in the predicament that we are in today. I think God is missioning Adam to find out, to see, to assist, to say to himself, the only person I need is God. When it is we put ourselves in a positional place where we would stop adhering to the word of God, the will of God, the way of God, we then put other things in the place of God, causing them to be our gods. He's not looking at Eve as a wife, as a girlfriend. He's looking at her as a replacement for God. She is created from his rib. She is all incongruently, just for this instance, the shape of a snake. There really is nothing too beautiful about her. She is average, she's normal. She is at this point in time just a tool to help Adam plow the ground. It's as he looks at her and he is coming from a wounded place, saying, that is my bone. That is my flesh. She wounded man. I know we're at a different interpretation, but I got to give it to you like this on today, because I believe this is where a lot of relationships come wounded. Is that how can you be in a new relationship with a new person, but yet you find no new solace in who it is that they are and how the relationship is going? Is that you are subjected to the choices of your past, of their past, of a doomed future, because it comes from a wounded place. There is a wounded place that all of us come from, that we're in relationships. At some point in time, those wounds start to come out. As you start bleeding over people that never cut you because you never healed from a broken place. She comes from a wound man place, which is why it is that Adam has no problem making sure that she takes the blame for her own self, take the blame for her own action. He has no problem not defending her, but making sure that God knows this thing, this wound man that you gave me, she gave to me. I mean, the name would fit woe, because it is that she would be the sorrow of the man. So Adam is created with all dominion. He is to subdue and dominate everything. It's not until he's wounded that it is he begins to fall from the grace of God. Is that he will pick her over him, because it is she was in his face. But I think man is just like God. It's where we find God in the text saying, let us make man in our image. Is that I'm lonely. Is that I am sad without him. I know they're going to hurt me, but I love to help them. I know that they are not really in love with me, that they would be lusting after the things I would be able to provide, but I love them. When is it that you're called to a place of liking what doesn't love you? Called to a place of healing what hurt you while you haven't healed. He has to call her woman, wife, and then see her being crowned mother of all living, while it is Adam is drove out of the Garden of Eden. Is that it doesn't seem fair in punishment that the ground, the thing that I pull all my food from, my worth from, my crops from, this is how I take care of my family. And it is God curses this. For all the days of my life, I am suppressed to working because I love somebody who didn't even like me. I am putting extreme influence on the text, but I feel like for somebody in the room on today, I can be a resonating fact that you are in your Adam Eve situation. That it is God has pulled from you something that he now puts in front of you. And I know they didn't cause the hurt in your past, but it is that when they came in, they've come through, they've come when you're at a wounded place. And I know you're trying to love as best as you can, and people really can't resonate with where you are, how you are, who you are, because it is you're still wounded from the last person that God pulled from you. I know this is different, but what happens when you're in a place where God is pulling from you, saying it's going to work out for your good, but all you can feel is that it hurts right here? How can you testify, resonate, begin to identify with love when it is love hurts? Love hinders. This love from the last time hasn't even healed. And I'm pushed out here into the world trying to find love in a love-lonely place. It is that Adam comes to a place where he has to make up in his mind whether I'm going to be naked in the situation or if I'm going to sew leaves together and be suppressed to time. They are in a timeless world. They are eternal. They have no lifeline. It's not until after sin that God would subject them to the punishment of love being lost. Is that you really have never died. You really have never been unappreciative of life until it is you're able to look back from an appreciative point and say, I did not spend the most capital time that I should have with the person that I loved. In order to experience great love, you have to know what it's like to experience a great loss of love. And God puts Adam in a position where he has to now look at somebody that was forever as somebody that may end up dying for today. And God puts him into a place where it is he covers them with clothes of skin, coats of skin. He puts it on them and says, today is the day you'll die. That I'm put in places majority of the time where I can't live because it is I'm always still yet dying. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know where you are. I don't know what position you've been in. I don't know what circumstance you find yourself in. I don't know what situation you've been predicated to, but can I tell you in on today that it is love never dies.